And then you get these little corporate minions like Oliver Darcy, who knows that nobody trusts him as a journalist, who has no journalistic accomplishments at all. And whatever sites they can't control, whatever sites like Rumble refuse to obey the censorship commands that emanate from these media outlets. Hey, you're putting these videos on that contain views we want gone. And Rumble shoots its middle finger up. Instead of saying, oh, we're so sorry, we're going to take it down right away so you don't accuse us of things. They can't stand those sites, and they devote themselves as an activist crusade to maligning and destroying them in the hopes of having them censored and silenced, like Amy Klobuchar is trying to do. Like so many media outlets have been trying to do with corporate advertisers of Rumble, calling them and saying, are you really comfortable with being associated with content of this kind? So here's Oliver Darcy in a CNN article whining about the fact that the Republican Party, for the third straight debate, gave exclusive rights to broadcast the debate on the internet to Rumble. And as a result, the first two debates were sponsored by Fox. NBC News is hosting this third debate. I don't know what the rationale of the Republican Party leadership was, Mitt Romney's sister. But she, what is her name? Ronna McDaniel, I believe. She decided to partner with NBC News. So NBC News journalists are going to be presenting the Republican debate. I don't know why a Republican Party would want their candidates filtered and presented by NBC News, but that's what they've decided to do. So here Oliver Darcy sees an opportunity to try and pressure the Republican Party and NBC on the grounds that they're now partnering with a site that he claims peddles disinformation. Here's the headline. For Republican debate, NBC partners with right-wing outlets with history of peddling extremist rhetoric. NBC News is uniting with a pair of strange bedfellows for the third Republican Party primary debate. Quote, the Republican National Committee on Monday formally announced that it will partner with the Peacock Network to host the Miami Face-Off, along with the Salem Radio News Network and Rumble, two right-wing media companies that it's just such a lie. It is not a right-wing media company. The person who founded Rumble, who still is the CEO and majority shareholder, Chris Pavlovski, is, at least always was, a Canadian liberal. And there's nothing about Rumble that has any ideology. They're a free speech platform allowing everybody to come and say what they want. And a lot of left-wing voices or anti-establishment voices that have been censored by YouTube are here now doing it for that reason. They have massive cultural commentators as well, very famous, influential Gen Z cultural commentators who aren't remotely right-wing. Right-wing is a term that liberal activists use, like Oliver Darcy and CNN, to just signal to their viewers this is something that's bad. So even if it's a lie, it doesn't stop Oliver Darcy. So he says they're partnering with Salem and Rumble, two right-wing media companies that have a history peddling and profiting off of extremist rhetoric. I don't need to go into all the ways CNN profits off extremist rhetoric. It's no surprise that the GOP, which veered sharply to the right during Donald Trump's presidency, is that even true? They veered sharply to the right? That makes no sense. Donald Trump was more to the right than George Bush and Dick Cheney and John McCain and Paul Ryan. What does that mean, to the right? They veered sharply to the right during Donald Trump's presidency, which selects Salem and Rumble as partners, but it is striking that NBC News would agree to link arms with such organizations. The video sharing website has become home to the far right. Is my show far right? I'm hearing from a lot of conservatives who vehemently disagree with a lot of my views all the time, including my recent views expressed on the war in Israel and Gaza. I spend most of my time criticizing the U.S. security state, the CIA, the union of state and corporate power to censor. Are these right-wing views, let alone far right-wing views? Are the views of Russell Brand far right, or Kim Iverson, or the Revolutionary Blackout Network, or an endless number of voices? To say nothing of people like Kai Cenat and iSpeed, the African-American 21 or 22-year-olds who have a gigantic following commenting on music and culture and rap. But there's just no editorial standards at CNN, which is so ironic that they're the ones who posture as those who are credible to arbitrate who's a reliable news network and not. The video sharing website has become home to the far right, offering unsavory figures, who have been banned from mainstream platforms such as YouTube, giving them a space to continuing poisoning the public information well. This is a news article. And yes, the fact that someone has been banned by Google, except to a drooling authoritarian, is not evidence the person is a poisonous voice contaminating the public. Quote, and not only has the company allowed some of the most menacing forces in politics to maintain sizable platforms, meaning they allow free speech, it has also allowed them to earn treasure in doing so. Andrew Tate, the far-right misogynistic alpha male influencer charged with human trafficking and rape in Romania, has privately boasted that he has a $9 million deal with Rumble, as we reported earlier this year. And Rumble has even allowed the Holocaust denier and openly racist Nick Fuentes the ability to profit off of his neo-Nazi rhetoric. See, you just see that over and over their real complaint is Rumble won't censor. Rumble has never said a single positive thing about any voice on the site or a single negative thing about anyone on the site. They're just a platform that refuses to censor on the grounds that they can't arbitrate competently right from wrong, truth or falsity. That's not their role. Oliver Darcy thinks it's his role because he's an authoritarian hack who serves institutions of power. That's why it's a joke that he calls himself a journalist. But that's what enrages them about Rumble. Quote, news organizations will need to grapple with this uncomfortable reality as they navigate the 2024 waters. Do they really want to associate themselves with, and as a result, help legitimize companies that are in the business of mainstreaming extremism to the American public? Is doing so really worth hosting a debate which the party frontrunner will likely refuse to participate in? NBC News has made its decisions. Now it's up to other news organizations to do so as well. Just a worm he is, Oliver Darcy, but it's very representative of what these people do. It drives them insane that nobody's interested in them. Do you see how often he mentions that the people he hates, the ones he wants silenced, are extremely popular and have very big platforms and earn a lot of money? Think about the bitterness and professional jealousy inside of him bubbling over at all times that is driving him to be on this crusade to get other platforms silenced or forcing them to either censor or be stigmatized. That's the entire media. This is the corporate media. That's their mentality. What they really want at the end of the day is to force you to pay attention to them by eliminating the alternatives. They know that the only way people will listen to them is if they're forced to, is if every other alternative is banished. And that's how desperate they are and how authoritarian they are. What makes them angriest is free speech. I mean, it's unbelievable. As I've said before, it's like watching cardiologists enraged that people aren't smoking any longer and telling them to smoke. That's how anathema to journalism a belief in censorship is supposed to be. And yet, these are the leading censors. And if it were just them, it would be bad enough. The fact that members of Congress and the executive branch, the FBI, and the White House are all formally and systematically engaged in efforts to censor the internet, don't let that become normalized. Don't lose your anger over it, because it's every bit as dangerous as you think it is. Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.